How to make a shareholder-friendly game. Step 1. Zombies. Step 2. Parkour. Step 3. Story. Step 4. Marketing. We know this because we take the initiative to see how new games will perform in the video game market, and how appropriate it is that we take a look at Dying Light by the Polish developer Techland. It's a AAA game. My expectations are low, but a lot of people seem to be enjoying it, so I figured I should check it out. And now, so will you. Here's the story. Zombie outbreak, city quarantine, parachute in, recover file. Okay! The core mechanics of the game revolve around parkour. Climb buildings, jump over obstacles, run from rooftop to rooftop, slide through holes, and so on. This is how you maneuver through the map and proceed to the objective. Most of the time, I just run towards the orange dot on my screen. I don't even have to know what the objective is. I mean, I could put in the effort to look at the right side of my screen, but being the filthy casual that I am... Okay, never mind. I'm actually looking at the minimap when I'm running around. It's much more useful to do that than to look in front of you because all the special infected and humans are much more visible as arrows on the map. It feels like a really cool game in the first few hours because you're in a position where you have nothing and you have to scavenge for resources and avoid conflict whenever possible. Halfway through, I had plenty of everything and nothing felt dangerous anymore. When I did die, most of the time it's because I fell. It's like I'm invincible. I was jumping over crowds of zombies because I didn't need to avoid them anymore. I could take down zombies in 1 or 2 hits, or I could shoot them in the head because I have guns with plenty of ammo. I collected a bunch of rifles and sold them off so I can buy anything I want. Nighttime is supposed to be difficult and you're sneaking around to avoid detections by the... whatever they're called. Well, I'm running around with my flashlight on, ignoring all the regular zombies because they're irrelevant. I can set off a trap if I need to escape during the night, or jump in the water and swim away. They don't know how to chase you there. Oh, and the boss fight at the end of the game? Spoiler alert! It's a QuickTime event. Yes, I've already beat the game. This was supposed to be my first impression of it. I only wanted to play for a few hours, so I played for 15. And I completed a few side quests, but all of a sudden, here's the ending. This might as well be a full review. After that, you get the New Game Plus mode, which resets your progress and makes all the zombies tougher, but you keep your inventory. Again, I just jump over everything. I also tried the Be the Zombie mode. Keyword here is tried. I was never able to invade someone else's game. That's because everyone's game is set to single player by default, so you have to opt into this by setting your game to public, which, as far as I can tell, very few people have done. I only learned about this after I beat the game and wanted to try this mode. I thought the multiplayer was just co-op. Maybe I should just be grateful that they're not forcing multiplayer in the game, but to have an effective multiplayer component here, the game should be public by default and have players opt out of it if they want to keep it single player, not the other way around. It's such a simple thing, but it's ultimately holding back the interaction with other players. I've seen this many times before. Default settings can make or break a game. That's really it. It's a modern-day AAA game. Hand-holding gameplay features, emphasis on story and cinematics, small amount of core content, but there's tons of side quests, achievements, collectibles in all the nooks and crannies of the map, and other filler content to keep the completion whores busy. Unfortunately, I'm not one of those people. I don't explore for the sake of exploring or collect for the sake of collecting, so I don't think I've even been to half of the playable area. But despite that, there's still a few things I'm impressed with. After seeing one terrible PC port after another, it's refreshing to see something that plays very well here. The controls are amazing. Of course, it was designed for a controller, but I can do some things that we've always taken for granted. Very simple things like binding weapons and equipment to the number keys in a clear fashion. You can also change the field of view. By default, you have that low setting that's meant for people sitting on their couch some distance away, but you can change it to something more comfortable for a desktop. A lot of video options are also present, but the one thing that stands out the most to me is the game running at 60 frames per second. My graphics are maxed out, so this is a pleasant surprise. But I do have to mention, at this time, the game will perform poorly if you're using an AMD video card or processor. Definitely not optimized for all systems yet, but at least some people can run it well, and that's more than what I can say about most PC ports these days. So, AAA console game, fantastic PC port. How will this do in the video game market? The first few weeks are a bunch of reviews and let's plays. No surprises there, the AAA game gets its time in the spotlight. A few weeks should be enough time to optimize the game for AMD hardware, and when that happens, we'll see a small spike in the player base as the game becomes playable to more people. Despite that, I highly doubt it will do anything for multiplayer, but at least the game will sell millions of copies. The game will be successful. It's a AAA game, so in a few months, we'll see some DLC. It's not hard to predict since they're selling the season pass, and it's listing the DLC you'll eventually get. Cuisine and cargo challenge missions, additional weapons and skins, and a brand new competitive game mode called the Bozak Horde. A competitive game mode that will be completely dead before it's out. Multiplayer is already being restricted as it is thanks to the power of the single player default. The population of the game goes down as they move on to the next big thing, and all that remains is single player and co-op with your friends. But there is a silver lining here. Techland is planning on releasing official modding tools. There will be life to this game in the long run after all. How much life? That depends on the modding community that forms. The first few hours feels like a breath of fresh air. Any longer than that, and you begin to get the same feeling of hand-holding you get from other AAA games. I think Dying Light will be considered one of the best console games of 2015. And here I am using console as a derogatory term. But seriously, it's a very good PC port, and I can't stress this enough. Aside from the problems with AMD hardware, you can have smooth frame rates, the controls work very well with a mouse and keyboard, and you can fully customize them, and you can change the field of view. They made sure that your focus was on the game itself, and not on any technical snafus detracting from the fun that shouldn't be there. But the game is $60, console game price. It's hard for me to recommend this, especially at that price point, but if you really want it, wait for a sale. We'll follow up on the game in a few months. Thanks for watching!